So there, in the Green Paper, we can read, through the internet, citizens have access to an unparalleled amount of information and content beyond national offerings and can participate in opinion making. This facilitates freedom of expression and enhances pluralism of opinions. But it also pays attention to the fact that the way how people relate to information is changing. And filtering mechanisms, including personalized search results, make it more likely for people to receive the news in their area of interest and from a perspective with which they agree. The accessibility of general interest content, including in the online environment, might be limited in practice by business decisions, such as those of equipment manufacturers. Yeah, so the Samsungs of this world, or Philips, so if they come with their smart TVs, it's also, they try to push content that is affiliated to them. So it's not only about the Googles in this world or the telcos, that we need to look at the whole value chain and see where the bottlenecks are, or potential bottlenecks are. And even if content is accessible, finding the general interest content in an enhanced multi-channel environment can be a potential challenge for viewers. So this is recognized, these bottlenecks that can emerge at the level of us, the consumer, are recognized in the Green Paper. And the public consultation that was launched asked specifically to receive comments on the following issues. So, should we extend existing access obligations, as currently exists in Article 6 of the Access Directive, which deals with decoders, obligations for conditional access providers to grant access to their decoder park on fair, reasonable, non-discriminatory terms? Should we extend, or should the EU extend existing regulation on must carry? I believe the wording of the Green Paper is universal service, but for me, universal service is something from the telecoms world, the strict telecoms world, so access to a phone line, access to directories, and that's, in legal terms, a notion that is strictly limited to that, because universal service is something that you can have financed by the sector, whereas all the other additional general interest services that as a national government you would like to provide, you have to pay it from tax money. So I have written here must carry. So should we extend existing must carry rules? Is something that was put forward in the Green Paper as a question. Do we need other measures to ensure accessibility and convenience to find and enjoy general interest content? And this issue of findability and must be found is something that was also very prominent in the resolution of the European Parliament that was issued on the 4th of July. It was born on the 4th of July. Now it's it's the first time I noticed the date. But I'm coming back to the previous slide, but first about the European Parliament resolution. So what the European Parliament stresses in this resolution is scarcity is a feature no longer of the modes of transmission, but of the places where content can be found. Now, I don't think I fully agree with this. I would agree if there would be fiber all over Europe. But, and we had the net neutrality discussion in the previous session. I believe that the net neutrality discussion is, well, firstly was triggered because there were some operators so stupid to block certain applications, like competing applications, especially mobile operators, which of course then, oh, I only have 2 minutes left. Okay, and I have to climb back my ivory tower. Okay, let's see what... and they also stress this issue of findability and discoverability, so must be found rules. And what is striking in this resolution is, in the explanatory memorandum, is that the European Parliament states that anyone who has significant control over the diversity of content and opinions reaching an end user should be subject to regulation to safeguard that diversity of content and opinions. So no longer only those, apparently, who exercise editorial control. So let's keep that in mind when we come to the reactions. And finally, the Green Paper suggests or asks, should we introduce regulation of predefining choice through filtering mechanisms, including in search facilities? And if you look at the recommendations by the high-level expert group on media freedom and pluralism, this was also an issue that they put forward as an attention point. They said, in order to give complete transparency as to how individualized a service is, services that provide heavily personalized search results or news feeds should provide a possibility to turn it off, temporarily or for an individual query, or permanently until further notice. Okay, so as you can imagine, the reaction, I've been browsing through the reactions. I could not read them all, but just to give you some highlights. This is from the voice of listeners and viewers in Europe. They agree that due prominence of public service and European content remains relevant and needs to be extended from DPGs to similar listings and navigation facilities at EU level. Not everybody agrees, obviously. The EBU agrees, but if you look at what ACT, the commercial TV, the Organization of Commercial Television in Europe, writes is, well, do not enshrine in stone the privileged status of certain incumbents. Yeah, I guess you can read here